Hey everyone, I am so incredibly excited for today's video. So today we are going to be doing sentence movement questions on the SAT. So basically, how do you know if you should keep a sentence where it is? Should you move it? What techniques, what strategies should you implement to make those decisions? So these questions can be a little bit difficult because they do involve more reading than is typical of most of the grammar questions. But rest assured, with the strategies we are going to walk through today, you will be a sentence movement master in absolutely no time. So without further ado, let's jump into today's content. All right, so most of the questions on the SAT grammar section that involve moving sentences have to do with ensuring that you are being more specific before you resort to being less specific. So for example, before you can say she or the girl referring to me, you would first need to indicate that you were talking about Jackie before it would be appropriate to say either of these two things, because otherwise you would really have no idea what you were talking about. Like, she and the girl could refer to so many people. You would have no idea that that was me in particular here. So you couldn't do that. You couldn't do the she or the girl first. And let's think of a few more examples. The orange from the supermarket. You would need to say the orange from the supermarket before you could just refer to it as the orange, because otherwise we wouldn't know what orange you were talking about, or alternatively referring to it as it. So you would need to clarify that you were talking about the orange from the supermarket before you can just call it the orange, because otherwise we would have no context. So this is a really, really common tactic that can help you to solve these sentence movement questions on the SAT grammar section. So let's hop into a few examples. All right, so we are going to be looking at 3 different examples to illustrate this whole concept of being more specific before you can actually refer back to something and be less specific. So this question asks us, sentence 4 should be placed where? So first things first, we want to read sentence 4. So it says, Box is currently organizing an expedition to gather this crucial information. So we want to point out how it says this crucial information. So that is going to refer back to something where we initially had mentioned some sort of important information. So let's start with choice B, because that would be the first thing of all of these options after sentence 1. Box's research is important because the fires may not be a one-time phenomenon. That doesn't talk about any crucial information, so that's going to be no. Sentence 2, rising Arctic temperatures are making northern latitudes greener and more fire-prone. There's no information that they're unsure of or trying to gather at that point. Let's try looking where it is right now. So that would mean that it would come after sentence 3. The pattern he observed may repeat itself with harmful effects. Again, they're not indicating any information in need of gathering, so it's not going to be A. After sentence 5, 5 says, let's see this in green, the next step is to travel to Greenland and perform direct sampling of the ice in order to determine just how much that word that I don't know how to pronounce is contributing to the melting of the ice sheet. So they're trying to determine something, meaning that they do not know. So this is information that they do not know. Therefore, we should go ahead and stick sentence 4 after sentence 5, because that would be referring back. This crucial information refers to what it is that they're going to gather on their trip. So D is correct there. Alrighty, then checking out the next question, number 9. So here they're asking us where we should move sentence 1. Sentence 1 says, a report by the Space Foundation estimated that NASA contributed $180 billion to the economy in 2005. So let's start with where it is now, because that is the first option in terms of order. So I want to point out in the second sentence, it says, more than 60% of the contribution. So that has to be put after we've referenced a contribution, because otherwise you can't call it the contribution. So we need to keep sentence 1 where it is then, because this is the $180 billion contribution. So if we put that right where it is right now in sentence 1, we could then refer back to it in sentence 2. Otherwise, if we move sentence 1, we wouldn't know what the contribution was talking about in sentence 2. So we want to go ahead and keep that where it is right now. So choice A is correct. And lastly, looking at number 31, this one, they're not asking us to move anything, but to insert a new sentence. So let's see what that's about. After filling out a simple registration form and taking a quick tour of the facility, I took a seat at a table and got right to work. So the facility is, again, very specific. So they need to mention the facility first. I don't see the facility mentioned in sentence 1. I see it mentioned in 2. It says a facility that offered a bright open work area where I wouldn't be isolated. So because we can see right here that they mentioned the facility in more detail, it would then make sense to put what we're taking right here, this sentence, and to shove that right after sentence 2, because the facility refers to the facility that they laid out right here. So that's got to then be choice C. The second most common type of question that they'll ask you with the sentence movement will rely on you using a transition word to figure out where to place the sentence that you're either considering adding or moving around. So transition words, what we have to know is that if we see a contrast word, a few examples are written right here, we would have to put that after a sentence that is stating something oppositional to our current sentence. If we have one of the example words, we need to make sure that we put that after we've made a general claim, and at this point we're providing an example. And for any of these addition words, we need to make sure that we're adding a relevant point to a point that is related that we've already made. So of course, this is not an exhaustive list. The point is just that using transition words is a really great way to secure getting the answer correct for these sentence movement questions. Alrighty, so we're first going to begin here with number 38. So we're considering moving sentence 5. It says, she tried again. So that's going to have to be something she already did, but we're redoing it. And then it says, but this time she went with a song called Judy. So we have to put this after she's already attempted another song, but now she's changing the song. So let's go ahead and look at what choices they gave us. So the first choice chronologically would be B after sentence 2. So it says, then she made a sudden decision to sing instead of dance. But that doesn't mention her singing any particular song, so we can't put that there. So it's not going to then be B. After sentence 3, so in sentence 3 it says, she began shakily, and after a few sour notes, they mentioned this song right here, stumbled out of her mouth, Ella stopped short. All right, so she stopped short. So she started one song, they mentioned the particular name, and then she stopped short. So we can put sentence 5 then right after sentence 3 because it's saying she tried again, but now it's a different song. And it makes sense if you read sentence 4 after that. With this song, her voice brought the house down. So now it's obviously going better for her. So we have to introduce the song before we can obviously say that the outcome was different. So it's got to be choice C. And lastly, number 7. So they're asking us here to move sentence 2. In sentence 2, it starts off with the word but. So we need to put this after something that is going to contradict or contrast with this sentence. So, but now 3D scale models can be rearranged with ease, which is a huge boon to scientists. So this is mentioning very positive things. So we obviously are going to want to put this after somewhere where they said the negatives or something that was a problem. So let's start with before sentence 1. Well, if we put this before sentence 1, you can't really start with but because it's like, but what? You need to contrast something to be able to say but. So that's not going to work. All right, where it is now, that would be keeping it right here. They're talking about a benefit, but that doesn't make sense then to say but because we're also talking about something positive. So there's no contrast there. So it can't be where it is now. After sentence 4, so in sentence 4, they say in the past, research was limited by the weight and bulk of the fossils. All right, so now we're talking about something that's negative right here. And then it says in sentence 5, in many cases, scientists had to rearrange bones virtually using artist renderings. So notice that 5 continues to expand on 4, so we definitely don't want to cut it up there. So we want to put 2 right after sentence 5 because that's telling us all of the problems that they've experienced in the past, but now things are much, much better. So we want to go then with choice D. Thanks so much for watching today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed and learned a lot about these sentence movement questions that frequent the SAT. If you did enjoy, make sure to thumbs up and subscribe, and also make sure to follow me on my TikTok. We'll drop that somewhere over here. Test Prep Tips. I post daily tips and tricks on that account. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Take care.